Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2023 film Perpetrator. It's a Shudder original, and it's coming to Shudder on Friday, September 1st. So, first of all, my apology on getting this no spoiler review out late. I usually like to get it out a few days beforehand. It comes out on a Friday. I like to get it out the Monday of that week. But unfortunately, I wasn't given the screener until just the prior day to when I'm recording this and putting it out in the same day. So, been having a lot of problems with getting screeners through Shudder ever since the layoffs happened, unfortunately. But that is what it is. This is a review about Perpetrator, which I'm going to say off the top, every movie is worth watching at least once, at least just to figure out how you personally feel about it. These are obviously always just my opinions on movies, and people who have been watching my channel long enough know that I say that because I did not enjoy this movie. So, regardless, I'm going to talk about what I didn't like about the movie, but also what I did like, because there were some things that I really did enjoy about the movie, but overall, I didn't really like the movie. It didn't really hit for me. Now, Shudder had sent me a bunch of interesting information from the writer-director, who is Jennifer Reeder, who did Knives and Skin VHS 94 segment that was called Holy Hell, and the movie Night's End, which I did watch and do a no-spoiler review on a few years ago, I believe it was now. And that one, I look back on my notes, and that one I liked a lot about it, but then it kind of like fell apart in the end, so I'm not sure what I gave it rating-wise, but it was kind of like a bit of a mixed bag for me, but it seemed like I liked it a little bit more than I didn't like it. This is kind of the opposite for me. But yeah, so they sent me some extra information, and I don't want to say specifically what it said, because if you want to watch the movie, I don't want to spoil like trying to suss out the main theme in the movie, but I think you would end up getting it. You'll kind of get at least a portion of what the writer-director is going for with the movie. I love how she put it. She put it very eloquently in the press release about what the movie's supposed to be about and the kind of underlying theme and everything. And like, I get that from the movie, but for me, the movie kind of feels like a mess at the same time, and her vision doesn't come through to me. Now, maybe that is just a personal thing. Maybe it is just me, and that's why I say, if you have any sort of interest in this movie, just watch it, because then you can figure out, did you like it? Did it hit for you? Did it not hit for you? Check it out. So anyway, again, this is coming at this point when I'm recording and putting out the video. It's coming tomorrow to Shudder, which is Friday, September 1st. So quick synopsis, it's about a high school girl who has a messy family situation. She ends up going to live with an aunt. She has a troubled life. I'm putting in quotation marks for a very specific reason that you'll understand if you see the movie. She has a troubled life, and she's going through changes. And she's just trying to kind of navigate her life while finding things out about herself. And there's also something going on with some girls that have just been disappearing, and that ends up being explored in the movie as well. Although, I will say, it's kind of, I don't think they spend enough time on that. Like, there are a few things going on in this movie. It's what the main character is going through, and then it's these kind of disappearances, and it does end up coming together in the end, but I feel like the amount of time spent on each is a little bit confused, and it kind of needed to be bits of each of them sprinkled throughout the movie in better proportions, in my opinion, to kind of like keep people thinking about what was going on. But that's just my opinion, obviously. So, the beginning credits in this seem like something ripped directly from Saw films. If you watch the opening credits to this, you'll understand what I mean. If you've seen any Saw movies, it is like almost the exact type of opening credits scene. So that's a direct ripoff. I'm not a fan of that. Also, it doesn't fit the movie, really. Like, it does in a sense of something going on in the movie, but as an overall feel of the movie, it doesn't fit. It's very kind of mismatched. Which comes to another thing that is mismatched at times, not always. The score. The score to this at times is quite mismatched, especially in the beginning. The very first piece of music that shows up in this movie during the beginning sequence really does not fit. And that does happen a few other times. It's not consistent. And I do like the actual composition of the score. I think the music is well put together. It's just there are a bunch of moments where you're kind of like confused as to why did they choose to make this music during this scene. It doesn't match. The acting is serviceable. There are unfortunately a lot of unrealistic pauses between characters when they're speaking to one another. So it really does suffer from this surrealist, weird feeling, which I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the acting isn't top notch, which, I wouldn't assume that it's going to be for a Shudder original, because this is obviously a very low budget movie. So I understand that you're not going to get people who are unbelievable actors to do this, but that's why I say it was serviceable acting. But there are these issues, and I have to kind of fault the director for this, because you have to pull this out of your actors and kind of like, get the scenes the way you want them to be. Although, like I said, maybe they wanted it to be this way to have it feel kind of like odd and surreal. So maybe that was at play. But there are these weird pauses when characters are talking to each other a lot of the time. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like an actual flow of conversation. It does feel more like delivering lines. So that's kind of one of the problems. But once again, like I said, I didn't expect it to be outstanding acting, because it is a very low budget film. So, think of it what you want. There's some very odd there's one thing very odd that the main character does. It happens once in the beginning of the movie, like within the first 5 minutes, I believe. And it doesn't happen again. It's just really, really weird. I understand the idea that they had behind this character doing this thing, but it ends up really actually just coming off as goofy. It just didn't work. And that's one of those things where it's like, yes, this may have been something scripted. Yes, it's something that maybe you wanted in the movie, but you shoot it and then you're just like, yeah, this isn't working. It's just coming off as goofy. And I think you need to kind of change on the moment, or in the moment, and kind of do something different, or just cut it all together. Because honestly, it wasn't at all needed, to be honest. But it was just one of those moments, which there are a bunch of these moments in the movie, where it's just something that's kind of like random and weird and odd and goofy, and it just kind of takes you out of the experience of the movie, and it just makes you like, why was this a choice? I don't quite get it. I do appreciate, this is a big one for me, I do appreciate the lighting, how it was handled in this movie, especially in the darker settings at times. There is a big problem in horror movies in particular, especially lower budget horror movies, with not lighting properly, which I really don't understand. So I have to give big kudos to this film and the filmmakers and whoever was head of lighting for this. You handled the lighting very, very well. Everything you need to see, you see it in every single scene, even if it's a very dark scene. Big thumbs up on that. I'm nitpicky when it comes to lighting in movies. The dialogue is oddly written. It could be an intentional choice, like I said, to make it feel like odd and surreal. But once again, it gets to that thing I was talking about, where it's like these interactions between characters don't feel real. They really just don't feel like they would actually happen in real life. And there's actually a lot of that going on with the movie. There are a few really cool artistic effects moments, and just like interesting, really inspired shots in the movie and sequences. It's not 100% throughout. Most of the film, I would just say, the cinematography it's good. Like it's very good. Not very good, but it's good. It's solid. But there are these moments where there's more of this artistic flair that kind of shines through, and you get some of these moments where I was impressed with how it looked and what they did within that particular scene effects wise. I was like, oh, okay, this really works. That's kind of cool. There really is no logic to follow in the events of the movie, unfortunately, as things randomly happen that don't really feel realistic at all, and don't really feel like, even within the world that's been created in this storyline, would even happen. It's so random. It does seem like a whole lot of convenience out of writing going on. where it's like, oh yeah, and then I just want this to happen. But it doesn't make sense for what's been going on with the movie. It's just this random thing that ends up happening that me as an audience member, maybe not everyone, it's just like, what? Why are we doing this now? Is very out of nowhere. And I mean, I guess the plus in that sense is that you truly aren't going to ever know where things are going with the movie, I guess. So I guess that's a plus. There's something done twice in this movie that seems like it was directly stolen from the movie Under the Skin. And if you've seen that movie and you see this movie, you will probably understand what I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about directly stolen from Under the Skin. I don't know if it actually was, because it is one of those things where sometimes people have a similar idea and it just, comes off about the same. But I don't know. That's just how it felt to me, and I just wanted to throw it out there. The ending of this movie does seem pretty drawn out, unfortunately. Actually, the entire movie seems kind of drawn out. The pacing isn't great to me, especially because with all those random things happening, it kind of feels like the script is lost. Like, actually trying to coherently tell this story just is not really happening. It seems to meander and kind of get off into these like side tangents that don't really make a whole lot of sense for the actual story, or don't even really have much impact, and you're just kind of like, okay, we're just kind of going every which way in this. So pacing really does suffer with it. It's an hour and 40 minutes with credits included, and it definitely, I think, should have been cut down some. I like the underlying theme in it, and it's an interesting concept. It's just I don't really like the execution of it. So, but, overall, I didn't think it's like the worst movie ever made. That's probably Veronica. That movie's terrible. When it comes to like unenjoyable, terrible. So out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm going to give it a 1.5 star rating. Sorry. Like I said, other people may enjoy this. I really do hope it finds its fan base, because there's a lot of hard work that does go into film, and I realize that. And there were some good things that were in this film, like I said. So yeah, but I would love to hear other people's differing opinions on this. So go ahead and put it in the comments, or any opinion you have about this movie or any horror related stuff in general. Down to read that and interact with you all. So that'd be great. Also, do me a favor and hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, hit the notification bell button if you want to know when I'm putting up new videos. So thanks so much for checking this one out, and until next time, keep it brutal.